Hello, welcome to the Last General Alpha Playtest. I'm one of the current testers for TLG. I'll be your guide through this unofficial tutorial. Today we're going to take a brief look at the command systems that are featured in the Last General. TLG aims to provide players with a lot of the familiar systems that we all know and love from the RTS genre, while expanding on those systems and taking them from a micro scale to a macro scale. TLG uses what I will continuously refer to as smart orders to assist the player in commanding dozens of full platoons of units rather than individual units at a time. It does still allow the player micro orders, like we're all familiar with the simple right click, but it does try to take away a lot of the micromanagement that would come with those simple right clicks, like ordering troops to board a transport, having logistics running between bases or resupplying a unit. Things like that are done autonomously in the background, allowing you a lot of freedom to jump around the battlefield and leave your personal touch. And you'll see exactly what I mean in just a moment. Please do keep in mind that the Last General is in an alpha state, and as such, a lot of those systems are still in their early stages or altogether absent from the game. But with your help, you'll see those systems develop further and further and kind of work even more effectively with each playthrough. So feel free to go ahead and explore the current menu options. It's a familiar UI, and do go take a look at the keybinds as they will be very, very useful to you. Um, to demonstrate the scale of the Last General, we're going to choose the largest map currently available, which is Calda. There are various game modes planned for the future of TLG, but today we have access to what is essentially a skirmish mode. Our goal is to capture and hold the points of interest on the island, which is, in this case, the various cities scattered around the map. To control the cities, we simply need to hold a dominant unit presence there. So let's jump in. The Last General is a single player game currently, and as such allows the player complete control over the battle scenario with familiar control options like the pause button, which I'm going to use right now. What do you see on the screen are my current starting units that are ready for deployment. Let's take a look at the current smart orders available to players and get some of these units moving. The attack order functions in a similar fashion as any other strategic move or command would, but in the Last General, that same order is issued on a macro scale to an area rather than an individual unit. That order then mobilizes any available platoons based on the number you selected from any available units that you saw when I was looking at the island in its entirety. So you can check the number of available platoons in a specific area by looking for those specific icon designations. In this area of the map, I have two available mechanized platoons, each consisting of 3 vehicles capable of transport and their assigned squads of infantry. You can see the composition of each platoon by selecting its platoon marker, and these lines will point to the assigned units in that platoon. So let's issue one of these platoons in attack order, and you'll see that the infantry begin seeking out their nearby transport. Transport allocation and unit strength are essential for quick mobilized attacks that can catch the enemy off guard. And when units begin taking losses, they'll begin pulling transports from different idle platoons, allocating what you have available again to the front line for you so that units can continuously stay mobilized. We have one more mechanized platoon available, but I think we might need two. So if you issue an attack order for a number of platoons that are not available in the immediate area, an available platoon awaiting orders will be automatically assigned and begin mobilizing to join that attack order from elsewhere on the map. You can see that a nearby mechanized platoon has now been tasked to mobilize on that issued order with that one original remaining mechanized platoon that I had. Now, let's issue a defend line order to a nearby tank platoon consisting of 4 tanks each, which can be identified with their own independent unit icon. If I anticipate an enemy push from this direction, I'll draw my line facing the expected offensive from left to right. This platoon will now spread out across that drawn line in a holding pattern. As the platoon takes losses, reinforcements will automatically begin mobilizing to reinforce and maintain that defensive line with the assigned number of platoons. Currently, this early iteration of the reinforcement system will try to maintain the full strength of a platoon and will borrow any individual units from idle platoons that have not been assigned to an order. As development continues, this reinforcement and platoon composition system will become more refined and allow the player more freedom to set reinforcement priorities and unit composition. The Last General features combined arms warfare, so you'll also be expecting attacks from the air. Let's issue a defend area order to our nearby anti-air unit to cover our unit's movement. Any nearby anti-air units will now move to a fixed point and hold their position within that designated defend area. I also see one of my artillery platoons out in the open. Let's move them to safety with a simple right-click move. And now we'll allow them to return fire. I can let my artillery acquire targets on their own as enemy positions are discovered, or if I spot an area that could use some extra attention, I can designate fire mission priority with an artillery fire mission order. There are a few options depending on the area I intend to cover. Let's make sure we capture them moving by drawing a fire mission on their anticipated route. Finally, let's talk air assets. In the current iteration, planes, drones, and helicopters can be seen sweeping the battlefield. Jets can be called in from off-map currently and carry out a continuous string of bombing runs. By drawing an area of focus similar to the artillery fire mission available, air assets will then continuously aim to strike any targets in that designated area. Air assets are currently spawning off maps, and you'll see the FPV drones continuously deploying from infantry.
We have lost the city.
You can see a few of the options planned grayed out in the menu here, which leads me to our final basic unit order and personal favorite, the glass cannon helicopter. Helicopters, unlike jets, currently deploy on the map from nearby production facilities modeled as helipads. At this time, helicopters have one designated attack pattern and will continuously reinforce that attack order as long as production continues. I'll cover more production and logistic information in the next video. You can also see the option for helicopter deployment intended for the near future as well. Though the alpha in its current state has its limitations, many of the core systems of TLG allow the player to begin seeing some of these things in action. And did I mention direct control? Direct control allows you to jump into any unit on the battlefield and put your own personal touch on the destruction or disaster that ensues. From planes to grunts, you call the shots and you point the way. So good luck, and remember the alpha needs testers like you. So report your bugs and crashes, and let's keep Ale very, very busy.